Hey, what is going on, everybody? Boilon here, back for another video on Marvel Mystic Mayhem. Now, in today's video, because we're kind of fast approaching for some of us who have started from the beginning of the game, our time reversal is going to be at an end soon in about 3 days. If you started at global launch on day one, now if you started a little bit later, you might have a little bit more time on that. But the reason for today's video is I want to talk about what I believe is to be some of the best free to play champions that are available. Now, I'm not here to tell you like go level up Scarlet Witch and Thor and all these characters that you may or may not have available to you. Where possible, I will kind of mention that, these characters are good and worth building. But I want to talk about namely the ones that you will most likely have free to play, ones that they had given out for free. And also probably more focused on 2-star characters, which you're more likely to pick up through your shadow keys and whatnot. And I want to talk about the ones that I think are the best characters. So if you're ready to go, everybody, let's boil this down. Okay, so let's start off with where my roster is sitting at. I'm not here to say, go build all of this stuff, right? Because not all of this is necessarily available. But I do want to kind of start off, I want to break this down a little bit between two different categories, right? Obviously, there's the physical and the special category, but there's also the AoE and the single target category. Now, as far as tanks go, you kind of tanks and healers, you do kind of need it and you kind of don't. There are certain story missions which I feel like are designed for you to have to use. There's you might have known that there's like these certain, especially in the Moon Knight story mode, where you have to like you get these annoying lanterns, and if you don't heal them, like everyone goes blind. That kind of thing. Like there's really niche moments where you need a healer, and or you might need a tank, but there's a lot of times where you actually don't. Now, I do have one main tank. My major tank is Juggernaut, so he's one that I do have leveled up. And yes, I'm not here to say go build Juggernaut. This is just what I have in my roster anyways. Um, but I don't actually really have any healer characters. Now, that being said, I do want to talk about Sleepwalker because he is, we're going to start here, because he is, while you get him for free at the beginning of the game, he is also the best kind of free-to-play healer that you might need for certain niche instances in the story mode chapters, these kinds of things to keep that lantern alive and some other things. So it's really easy to use Sleepwalker to do this. And the reason why I want to make mention of him is because just by playing the game, you actually get quite a few Soul Saga shards for him as well. Now, some of these have been pulls on my end, but you do get them free to play as well. So you can kind of activate all. I'm not activating them right now because I haven't. I reset him. He's still at level 1. I don't currently have a need for him, which is why I decided to reset anyone that I'm not currently using in the game right now so that I can hoard those resources. But you might have some value in using Sleepwalker because, like I said, there are certain instances in the story and some challenges that you might find value out of Sleepwalker. So I do want to let him know. But now let's talk about tanks while we're here, right? You have the option of like Hulk. You have the option of Armor, who is free to play as well. You do get her in the story. And I think, yeah, there's Angela. You don't really get her for free, but she is a 2-star. I'm not a big fan of her personally, I'll be honest, so I'm not going to talk about her at any great length. But if I had to choose between Hulk and I had to choose Armor, I probably would go for Armor. I do feel that she is a better tank as far as PvP goes, which I know there's not a whole lot of that to do right now either. That's another conversation which I've already discussed in other videos about content. But if the only thing you have is Hulk, that's okay too. Because again, you get those Soul Sagas free to play through your gameplay. Like, I think for me, like I almost have enough to do a third, like at the end, like by like level 70, right? Like I have almost enough of these Soul Saga shards, the Hulk shards, to be able to upgrade all the way to Mind 3, which is actually pretty nice if you do end up getting that. Because, and I think that goes for a lot of characters, right? The more dupes you have, the more shards you have to get these Soul Saga upgrades, which can significantly change a character. So don't discount that. But either way, you can build Hulk to be kind of more on the damage side of things rather than a tank, but you don't really need tanks and healers all that much, in my opinion. So let's just get started with physical damage. Let's get started with, I guess, single target. And you're going to have the options more free to play between Doppelganger and Lady Bullseye. I think those are probably your better options as far as 2-stars. I am a big fan of Moon Knight, but more with regards to, I think, as a support hybrid character, right? He does some damage, but he does attack speed, and he does healing as well for melee-based characters, so he can pair very well with Doppelganger and also Echo, right? These are some of my favorite physical target damage, especially single target. So Echo and Doppelganger together with Moon Knight, I think would be really good because they would all be in melee together. This could be an issue for PvP, but as far as PvE goes, I'm a big fan of Echo. I actually use single target in conjunction with my Scarlet Witch, who I know is not, really in that free-to-play realm, but I just wanted to make mention that I do use Echo quite a bit. So she is at 3-star that I did rank her up with those the blue evolution stones. And the reason why I like her is kind of her ability to copy the character with the highest attack. So you do not need to really give attack to Echo because it's useless. So you can build other stats like like energy generation, which is a big thing for her. You can also use physical damage bonus, crit chance, crit damage, this kind of thing to really get that up, but you don't need to focus on any attack percent, and actually artifacts with that is pretty much wasted. I do have her highlight as well, which is really nice for increased energy generation as well. So as far as single target physical damage goes, I love Echo. She's one that I use a lot. That being said, if you don't have access to some of these, Doppelganger's fine, and Lady Bullseye is a great ranged single target physical damage as well if you need it. But again, I don't need it right now. I find that once you get higher level, there's less of that whole niche with the physical damage and the magic damage is mostly relegated to challenges. I find that the only time that you actually need to care about that is certain challenges. Some of the Fabled Find bosses do have that, like a Thread, you want to use physical damage, and Juggernaut, you want to use special damage. But aside from that, it doesn't really matter all that much. And I believe even the Rune Raid ability, the Rune Raid bosses here for these challenges, none of them are actually damage locked. So I find that Marvel Mystic Mayhem just really hasn't been leaning into this all that much, but maybe they will more in the future. Now let's talk about physical AoE available. There's not a lot, right? It's like Misty Knight from the free-to-play side. If you really have to. I feel that Misty Knight really, and maybe I just did not use her enough, but I feel that Misty Knight really tapered off later on. Now, you should have been able to get Moon Girl and Devil Dino free-to-play. I'm assuming that she's still available free as she was for me within a 7-day login calendar, that kind of thing. Actually, I think it was like maybe 3 or 4 days. And then you get the legendary highlight for free for Moon Girl and Devil Dino as well. And actually, I might be the only one here, but I actually really loved her as far as physical damage AoE. In terms of content that required this, or even just if you need an AoE damage character, this is available for free. I do have her upgraded, as you guys can see, and so I do actually like using her on the physical damage front if it's necessary. So, hey, Sumi, I do think that she's actually really good, and she is in this free-to-play category because she is available to get for free. So, I did want to put her in here as a point of reference. Now, as far as other AoE characters go, for physical, it's a little bit lacking. I feel this game's a little bit lacking, right? There's obviously characters that I don't have. And I have the majority of the characters. Where's the gallery, right? The ones that I'm missing are all legendary-based characters, other than the Thing, who is going to be physical damage. And we're going to be talking about him more. We're going to be pulling for these guys tomorrow. But again, and this is actually free-to-play as well. So if I had to choose, I would say, you know what? Everything I just said about armor, you would probably just want to build Thing. I think that he's going to be a better character. I really like his kit. We discussed that in a previous video, and he is going to be free-to-play available. Same with Human Torch is also free-to-play available, which we'll talk about once we get to the special section. So yeah, I'm really excited for tomorrow as far as pulling for Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic, and getting a free copy of Thing, and seeing how many dupes I get for them as well. We'll see what ends up happening tomorrow, but that's going to be another video. So that's on the physical side of things. Let's talk about the special. There is a lot of options. I feel like there's way more options on special than there is in physical, which is why I'm pulling on the banner tomorrow for Reed and for the Thing. Now, I do want to give a special mention to Dream Queen because she is my favorite. So she is free. I would say she's more free to play available because she's a 2-star character. And for people who do not have Doctor Strange or Emma Frost, who I actually don't believe that Doctor Strange is all that important to have. Again, he kind of falls into that healer thing where you don't really need that for the vast majority of the content. And so Dream Queen falls into this support character where she does a lot with her ultimate because she boosts the damage of your skills significantly for using the ult. I do want to go into the talent window because it actually shows it here. 80.5% on her ultimate to increase the skill damage of all allies for me, it's 15 seconds because I actually have the Mind 3 buff for her. So that's pretty big. And she does actually do a little bit of healing as well. Where is it? It's over here. So whenever an ally uses a skill, they recover 3% max HP for each mana consumed. So it's just enough to keep them alive, and she focuses on basically raising everyone else's damage. So I do really like Dream Queen for that. And she is a great kind of other alternative option support character, especially for, well, really for anyone. But yeah, I was going to say for ranged characters, but it doesn't really matter that much. But she is a ranged attacker herself, so she is at range. She's not in melee range. Now, I do want to give a big mention to Storm, because I think that she is free to play. She is available after the 7-day login, unless things changed. And she is one of the, if not the best, one of the best AoE special damage characters. And she's available free to play. Right? Unfortunately, her highlight is not available free. I do not have it. I just, honestly, I swap between the Scarlet Witch highlight, because I did buy this, so I did spend on this. If I had to use another one for her, it would be Friends on the Street, because she deals additional damage to debuffed enemies, which she's doing quite frequently with her skills. All of her skills do a different debuff. But I still use her. She is my main special damage AoE character that I use. I flip the artifacts and the highlights between Scarlet Witch and Storm, because I never use them both at the same time. Scarlet Witch is just a big time single target damage character. Storm is a AoE character. Again, free to play available. Now, if you need another special damage character that is AoE, that is more free to play friendly, is available completely free, would be the Human Torch. Now, I did a video on him. I wasn't super impressed with his kit, but I have seen some videos with some pretty big numbers, and if you build him properly, I think you can do this really well. You know, I think it's his ultimate, right? Deals special damage to enemies in the target and applies burning, but it does extra damage, I'm pretty sure, based on his talents, right? So where is it? Supernova deals 20% more damage to enemies in the fire area. So you basically need to apply the Burning Blast target area before you use the ultimate, and with some good crit chance and crit damage, you can actually do a ton of damage with this. And also, the damage over time from Human Torch can crit as well. So really powerful character there. So if you need a strong special damage character, it'll be Human Torch. A kind of less free-to-play available option, obviously, is going to be Thor. My favorite special characters are going to be Thor and Storm for AoE. This is normally what I use, and I use Dream Queen for like everything support. So I use, my characters that I use is Scarlet Witch and Echo with Dream Queen single target, and then I use Thor, Storm, and Dream Queen for AoE. I do use Moon Girl and Devil Dino in niche instances where I need an extra physical AoE damage character, and then Juggernaut as my tank as a niche one there. Now, if I didn't have these characters, of course, a lot of these I do have at level 1. I guess I haven't really played around with too much for Mr. Negative, but I heard he's not very good. I didn't like when I played Thread and Man-Thing. I wasn't really that impressed with these characters here. Falcon is okay. I think if you have his Soul Saga upgrades, it would be a lot better. And I'm not a big fan of Angela either. So realistic, and Black Knight I'm also not a big fan of. Take what I say with a little bit of a grain of salt. Maybe if you have played with these characters and you do well. The good thing about Marvel Mystic Mayhem is that you, at least right now, the game content isn't that challenging. So if any of these characters I said I don't like or I don't think are very good, if they're your favorite characters and you want to play with them, then that matters to you. That's going to keep you going in this game, and that's going to make you have fun, right? You know, you're going to have fun with that. But armor, Psylocke is also a good free-to-play option if you do need some more special damage, kind of AoE or alt AoE, and then she does this telekinetic dash attack, right? This does adjacent target damage as well. So this can be fine too. You know, they're not bad characters by any means. Doppelganger was one of my favorite, and same with Lady Bullseye. I did like these characters as well. But there are some obviously like poor versions. If all you have is like Misty Knight and Hulk and Sleepwalker, you probably could go through the entire game with just these 3 characters. The game is not overly challenging. I just wanted to kind of list some of the characters that I enjoy playing with, and some of the characters that if you have available to you. Hopefully some of this helps. Otherwise, let me know in the comments down below, and I can change how I do things going forward from here. But I did kind of want to make a mention of the characters that I think are some of the better ones, and some alternatives that you could use if not. Otherwise, we have, you know, like I said, the Reed Richards and Thing banner coming out tomorrow. I am going to be playing around with that. I'm going to be doing some big pulls on that. I'm literally unloading all of my gems on the Reed Richards banner tomorrow, and that's my plan. We'll see whether or not I get lucky or not, but I want to go up to 80 so I can at least decide, you know, if I get Reed from the poll tomorrow, I can get his highlight. We'll talk about that more and more tomorrow in that video, but that's going to be it for today, and I'll see you guys all on the next video. And if you like this video, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and you'll be greatly helping out the channel. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys on the next one.